game, everyone. This is Rich Ramon, and you're listening to Still Toking with. Yeah.
Greetings, my friend. This is the brain of TV's Pinky in the Brain. Yes, and my human avatar, Maurice LaMarche.
Hi, it's Chris Poland, and you're listening to Still Toking with.
Hey, this is Eric Roland, voice of Kendo Rappa on My Hero Academia, and host of the Tough Love Podcast. You're listening to Still Toking with on the Dorkening Podcast Network.
My crew is ready to obtain the absolution, removing any doubt that we resemble fooling.
Well, hey, it's Wednesday, and you're always expecting Leo. I know you were, but unfortunately, he's under the weather again, so I get to screw everything up again tonight. And as always, with me, Mr. Jeffrey.
Happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday, right? Yeah, it's the 5th of July. We had the 4th of July yesterday. I'm glad that shit's over. That
Right? It friggin' rained.
Oh, yeah.
It poured.
Here. I don't know about where you guys were, but holy hell did it pour here. Wasn't much fun. I couldn't even cook a hamburger on the grill. I was so bummed out.
So should I throw it at the co-host that we have tonight?
Oh, of course. That's why he's here.
Oh, okay. And joining us as usual when Leo is not Jaja.
Yay! It's me! Oh my God! It's like I just saw you guys. I feel like a few days ago.
I know.
So nice.
It's almost like you're becoming family or some shit.
Oh Christ! You know, people use that word, and then all of a sudden they kick me away. I'm like, that's exactly like family.
Oh well, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to send you my Christmas list.
Oh. Well.
So.
I thought the term was coattailers.
Well, that's it too. Yeah, coattailers.
Okay.
But we're not here to talk about we're not here to talk about us tonight. Jeremy, I'm going to throw you to the wolves. I'm going to let you introduce
figured it was going to happen that
amazing guest. I am like really kind of.
I'm going to keep it short and sweet tonight. Okay. So, welcome to the podcast, the Still Toking with director Scott Lever and actress extraordinaire, because she does way more than just acts, Adrienne Kress. Yay!
Hey guys!
And he does show more than directs too. I just don't know all of that stuff yet.
Well, he's a director, actor, and writer.
Yes,
true.
So there's 3 titles there.
And producer as well.
And producer.
She's also a screenwriter, and
we're kind of tedious. It's just too much. It's just pick a lane, like seriously.
Right. Well, you got to update your IMDb because it only has the 3 right now. So you need to put some more stuff up there.
Internet.
Yeah, that's when we're stalking you, we get the whole spiel.
But no, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, well, thank you for making an amazing film.
Yeah.
That's very kind of you. You're welcome. I don't know.
You know,
I'm still in the middle of enjoying it, but I'm enjoying it. Like
I did enjoy it. You know, I watched it this afternoon.
You got it all in.
Yeah, I got it all
Damn
in.
You,
it
Jeff.
was well, hey, you know, somebody's got to do their work here.
Ain't that the truth?
Gold.
And as always, I only got like a little tiny piece of it because, you know, they kept me slaving to the grind. I couldn't do anything.
It's amazing. You know.
Yeah.
I plan on watching it. I'm taking a week off.
Not biased at all.
So
I have an idea. Before we even get into discussing the film, can we see the trailer so that people can at least have an idea of what we're talking about?
Oh, we absolutely can. So I'm gonna let's see. Eeny, meeny, miny. We're gonna throw Scott to the wolves here. So real quick, give the viewers an idea of what this film is about and bring the trailer in, and when you say go, I'll push the button.
Okay, let's do it. So we've got a washed-up boxer searching for his inheritance who must fight for his life when he is trapped in his deceased father's farmhouse by a local cannibal cult.
Wow, and here's the trailer, folks.
Hello? Hello?
Jack, are you there? We can't leave until I find the money.
You haven't found the safe yet?
Not yet.
like half the town is looking for you. I've never seen anything like this before.
Who is in my house?
Your dad gave me keys. I didn't break in.
Your dad, he told me that if anything weird happened in town, that I was supposed to come here and hide.
The whole town's acting bizarre.
You afraid of the dark, Ben?
Why are you doing this?
I promise you haven't seen anything yet.
Something demonic is going on.
We're gonna finish what we started.
Bravo.
All righty then.
So the first thing I want to say about this is I love the use of the lighting.
Thank you so much. That was
it really made an impression while watching this movie.
I agree.
Just the way it was done. You know what I mean? I mean, why some guy's walking around with a little stupid flashlight, I'll never understand personally. But it was really cool. It kept it really freaky in a lot of situations, and I really liked
Same
that.
with the music, very from beginning to end, well, almost the end. It definitely gets. I think I was more terrified with the music than the jump scares. There were a couple of jump scares. The harpoon hook thing, whatever. That one caught me off guard.
Nice.
But
That's good.
the music's very good in it. Keeps you in the movie.
Thank you. Yeah, we were very lucky to have an amazing composer, Simon Passmore. We had over, especially, it's quite an honor for, we're quite a small indie movie, and so we had over 400 composers apply for the job to compose for the movie. And we ended up finding Simon, who is actually based in the UK, and his work was so great. And we'd approached him because we were so inspired by the music in The Shining, because it's just so interesting and upsetting and scary, and it's almost more of noise than music, and it's just atmosphere. And so we gave it to him, and he just sort of went with it, and that's what he came up with, and we were just so happy and lucky.
And he's been a dream to work with. It's really weird to work with because we're in Canada, in Toronto, so we've got about a 5-hour time difference.
I could tell by one of the actors' accents. I was like, "Oh, they're Canadian."
Yeah. And I'm just we're all just so polite in the movie. But he so working with him was almost like working in the future and in the past. We would be getting him things at all hours, and we'd get stuff back from him at all hours. But he was so invested. He would get things back. I feel like he would send it to us 2 hours earlier. He was so quick. And he's been so when can we share the soundtrack? And the soundtrack is available now and stuff. But it's we were so lucky to work with him, and he's so gifted. Anyway, I have to sing his praises. Not literally, obviously.
That would be a great soundtrack just for a haunted house to have going.
Yeah,
all
just
the,
right.
Telling you really creepy sounds and stuff. Very good.
Right. Now you both wrote this, correct?
That's right. Yeah.
With the lead, Ryan Allen, who played Ben. So the three of us.
Oh. Yeah, did you ask for his input, or did he just give it to you?
No actors. Column A, column B. No, there was obviously pre-production when we were all just working as writers and wearing that hat, because Ryan's also a producer on it as well. So we were all working together in pre-production in general. But honestly, Ryan is an amazing improviser. So beyond just, the writing of the screenplay, on set, my hardest job was not laughing during a scene when he would improvise. Especially, I think you've all, minus Ben, made it to the big sort of cult confrontation, and we're on the porch. There were a few lines there that he improvised, and it's so intense, and big stuff goes down. And I'm just get the tears, get the righteous anger, and then he's improvising these lines and not, it was he's amazing. He's very, very talented, and also an opera singer, which did not factor into this movie, but just a fascinating.
Oh, that's too bad. Wow. Should have had a whole musical scene. That would have been perfect.
Like a dream.
Maybe the sequel.
So, Scott, did you throw that little part in for yourself just so you could get a credit? Or?
No, honestly, I didn't want to at all. It was purely budgetary, because we were shooting during the height of the pandemic with initial photography. We were only allowed to have the union only let us have so many people and crew in the house at any given time. And it was literally just, we didn't have enough people allowed. So I had to throw on a cult costume at one point just to pull it out. So it was definitely the hardest thing ever to throw on one of those sack masks and then run back out and watch the playback and then run back out. It was bonkers.
Well, it's kind of funny because I'm watching the movie. I'm like, all right, I know he's in it. Where is he? And then there you are. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that was short-lived.
Just take an arrow in the back. Yeah, and I'm glad you liked the lighting. It was obviously when we approached to make the movie, we were like, well, how do we make, they're trapped in a cabin. How do we keep that visually interesting as well? And one of the things we wanted to do was have the actors kind of do a lot of self-lighting and stuff with flashlights and lanterns, and keep these shadows moving and get reflections in the windows. And I think the thing that me and the DP Nelson Rogers talked about was we wanted to create a movie that was sort of the characters were trapped in this ocean of blackness, clinging to little islands of light, and just trying not to drown in it, basically. And so I'm glad that people are reacting well to that.
It was well done. Yeah.
It was a lot of work to find lanterns that are not just flashlights that go forward, but have a little open bit that shine up on the actors' faces. And at the same time, because sometimes you can get the little lantern one, but you can't get the flashlight one. So honestly, I was just happy that worked. Although we're all, of course, lit ghostly from below. So the most flattering lighting in all of cinema. For sure.
Every time
you guys... the little push button lights on the top of their shoes.
Oh, there you go.
That would have been so cool.
Every time you guys walked off the porch into the dark, it was crazy. I was like, oh my God, they disappear.
Yeah, okay.
They faded right out. Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, that is not, sorry, you can see my enthusiasm. Yay, dark. But that's up in north in Ontario. And there was no, obviously we did color correcting. Obviously we did a ton of post, but there was no actual post for that dark. When people left the circle of light that, we had for them, they disappeared like that. And to the naked eye.
That's crazy.
It was so cool, but also really freaky because at one point we actually did lose lights. The power went out and stuff. And Scott talks about sticking his arm. It's very Snowpiercer actually, sticking his arm out into the dark and it just disappears. Wow. And it was just so black. So yeah, anytime somebody backs off into the dark, that's how it was. So
now, was this you guys is all first time filming together, or I know some of you known each other, but it seemed really the chemistry with everybody seemed really well, and everybody seemed to fit in their places.
I'm so happy to hear that. I've worked with everybody. I think most of them I had worked with in the past on previous projects. I'd directed Ryan in a little mini series called Fair Trade. Adrienne I had worked with before, and we actually are married, so we are. So we.
I'm not sure if you know that.
We have some
He's in the room right over there.
Oh, I was just
wait a minute. All right, so now you definitely know they're married because they're in separate rooms.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sharing my computer space.
No, she's not sharing that good
He's
lighting.
in the shadows.
Yeah, we're literally in different rooms right now for good cameras for you guys.
And then Todd, who helped us, who's a producer on it, Todd Campbell, and also did fights. He plays Ted. The role may or may not have been written for him. Initially was written as Todd. So that's why
Ted was a freak.
Yeah.
When he's just get out here, Ben. I was just what the fuck's going on?
And he is just, I have worked with him for so long. In fact, he's the reason Scott and I know each other because he cast me in a show. So he's part of the fight community, Sage combat community especially in the theater community in Toronto. And they had this amazing show called Duel of Ages, where it was essentially just scenes of various fights over ages, like over time, right? So starting very oldie timey and moving very contemporary. Mm-hmm. And I was like, look, I can't fight a ton. I can do a bit, but if you need just an actor, and he did. And then he accosted Scott completely independently on the subway or something. They saw each other. He's like, I need a scene. Can you write me something? Scott ended up accidentally also acting in it, and we met, and we were friends for a while. But then, yeah,
it's amazing.
So Todd is like responsible for all of it.
It's amazing how Scott keeps accidentally ending up in things he's writing.
I know, right? It just stumbles into
I every time I swear it's not going to happen, and I like I don't know how. Like I just wake up with a sword in my hand, or like a.
You're Stephen King.
Scott, stay out of dark places, okay?
I'm trying my best, man. I am trying my best.
He's like, no, that's not how you do it. I will show you how to do it. All right, that was the best take. We're just going to use that one.
Give me the severed head. I'll show you how this is done. Come on.
So I like the way that there wasn't a lot of special effects in this movie.
No.
You know, and it kind of kept it real. You know, it was one of the other big things that I really liked it, because it was creepy, but it wasn't over the top trying to make it.
I thought when
freakish.
Ben was going to pull his arm back when they were sawing it, I thought we were going to get friggin' blood flying. I was like, oh great, here's where it goes down the tubes. But no, he comes back and he's just got these 2 or 3 saw marks in his arm. I'm like, holy crap. Not you, Ben, the other Ben.
Oh, the other one. The other
Fictional Ben.
My bad.
Fictional Ben.
Yeah. Fictional Ben.
It's interesting. It's low budget, a lot of in-camera stuff. I think we're both really inspired by Scott is definitely I enjoy certain horrors, but I'm also a big chicken. So Scott is definitely, the connoisseur of horror, but I think generally we really like, the 70s, the 80s stuff where it feels gritty, it feels real. I mean, you've got Ben, whose character is sort of influenced by Night of the Living Dead, the original Romero, and then me, I was sort of dressed up as Shelley Duvall, Amy as Shelley, just these homages, not, doing it, but just these homages to that. So I think that's part of it. But the fun part is there is obviously.
I just realized you were Amy.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm sitting there. I'm like, I know she's in the movie, but who did she play? I'm like,
see,
oh my God.
How many bong hits have you ripped?
Dude, I'm ask him that.
She looks totally different. Come on now. Her hair's not all. You do have a very Duvall kind of look to you going on.
Hence actress.
Yeah, well.
True chameleon.
I mean, that's a high compliment indeed. But yeah, so we have VFX. And even when you're talking about the arms, we did actually have, just to make it look more grotesque for that bit. But part of the going back and forth with our VFX guys was like exactly what you were saying. Like we wanted it to look real and not like, okay, here's the massive blood effect that that you've been waiting for. I'm glad it sells, because it's we did have some great people who worked in post, and our makeup girl Jenna, she was incredible with the gore. She's just making buckets of blood outside on the front porch during the day. I've got a few pictures. It's so quaint.
It's so quaint.
It's like stirring. She's so cute. This is a lovely, quite young, just graduated from film makeup, like special effects college here in Toronto, and so very young, but loves creature makeup, loves the gore, and loves also all bugs and lizards and snakes. And she would show us pictures of her various pets of such magnitude, and it's just very, very fun and lovely, and yeah. Anyway.
And that's whose house we want to go to.
You make it sound so scary. It's so sweet. Like
yeah.
But no, I mean the goal was definitely to keep the focus on the storytelling and the characters, and like not let it be completely overwhelmed. And like we were definitely aiming for that kind of 70s style of horror that really focused on like the tension and the idea of like things that you can't see in the dark. as opposed to more, which I do love, but more of the the Sam Raimi gore explosions, things like that.
Nothing against.
Don't get me wrong, those things
which
are
I
fun.
love, by the way, which I am a big fan of.
I think it would have taken away, though. It would have taken away from the movie. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You smash somebody's head in, but you don't see that.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah, you just see the blood splatter.
For this style of movie, I think it would have taken away from it.
Are those comments coming in? Are the people commenting live? That's awesome.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, I didn't even know. I'm so trying to look in my camera.
That's why I said usually I'm up there interviewing with Jeff, and Leo is doing what I do, which is watching the comments, watching the feed here, watching the feed on that, to make sure that everything's running simultaneously to all the platforms and pulling the comments up. Oh
my God. Well, hi, everybody.
So I'm not just a pretty face sitting here in the corner going,
I love it.
Yeah, no, you're not a pretty face at all. So.
That's nice.
So do you have this, is this classed in the genre of horror?
100%. I think we're a true horror. I know some people can talk about, is it a dark drama with some horror elements? But I think we're a true horror film, and I think that's our roots. That's what we're going for. Okay. It was an homage to everything.
I think.
I was more looking at it from the thriller side.
I would definitely say a thriller for sure.
I think that question is actually really genuinely fascinating for me as somebody who has spent a lot of time thinking I couldn't watch horror because I was like, no, that's one step too far. I'm such a chicken. And I realized, the more, I've gone and more that Scott has helped me watch some more movies, that the line between thriller and horror is very fine. But there is, and this was always my issue watching horror, it is still a distinct line. When there's just something about the director, when the director is pushing that scare angle, when the point is to give you chills, when it's sort of I know we look at a lot of horror as gore and all that, and we, especially with the Saw movies, and the sort of torture porn sort of thing with horror, a lot in more contemporary ways. But I think it's a vibe to use what young people say. I feel like thriller has the action, but it pulls back a bit. It's not giving you that same absolute dread. It's more like suspense and tension. And I think the build of dread, I think sort of the almost the philosophical parts of horror, of how far are we going into darkness, not just our literal darkness for the movie, but metaphorical, human nature and stuff. I think that leans into horror. So I definitely would say ours is 100% horror, but I do think that question of what makes horror and the thriller versus horror, and especially because our gore is played down, is a really good one. In fact, we just rewatched Crimson Tide the other night, and that's definitely not a horror. 95, right? But when you come to thriller and tension, you think about oh my God, you're holding your breath the whole movie, right? So why is that any different than holding your breath in a horror movie? But the feelings are completely different. And
the ones that always come back to me are Seven, right? Seven has a lot of gore, and it's got some horrifying stuff in it, but it's very much a thriller to me. Yeah. While if you look at The Shining, there's very little actual gore. He doesn't kill anybody except the one character. He never actually succeeds in harming his family.
Yeah, that's a suspense thriller.
Yeah, I think that there.
But it's held up as a horror.
I would still call it a horror though, as opposed to Seven, which I would say is much more on the side of a thriller, but has that gore and sorry, I'm so distracted. I'm seeing comments. I'm reading them.
So real quick, one of the comments was the Madness Comic Network would love to get you two on their horror movie club show.
Oh,
so, yes, please.
Hit us up, man.
I will do my best, Pops, to get you in touch with the proper authorities to make that happen.
I watch a lot, and I mean a lot of horror movies.
Yeah, Jeff's a horror freak.
Yeah.
The two of you then.
Oh no! Myself, I'm more into pop culture stuff. Jeff is definitely because of Jeff, Jeff and Ben, I've had to start watching horror because they keep asking me to come on this show.
I mean, you're like me, and then Jeff and Scott are like bad. By the way, is your background? Sorry, don't me. This is what I do.
Go ahead. Go for
legit,
it.
or is that like?
This is real. It's
That's
all
that's amazing.
I was like, is this guy filming in the Hadron Collider? What is going on over there?
It's my attic, and it's really freaking hot right now because I realized that I had my AC on and I turned it off because it was probably making a lot of noise. But usually I have a bunch of collectibles hanging. All I now have, because it got so hot, I had to take them all down. But I'm a big toy collector. You know, I got my Pops, all my...
Oh, that's amazing. I love that.
Original Star Wars figures.
But
no problem.
I love it.
I like to show it all off.
Yeah,
I have the mask from Scream hanging over my bed.
Oh my God.
One out.
I would not sleep. See, this is.
I mean, if we want to geek out for a second, I have the.
See, they're gonna ruin Leo's. They're gonna ruin Leo's question.
I have the replica of the record from Mandy, the cult leader has.
Oh wow!
Plays.
Oh wow! Okay.
Pull it back with it. Just yeah. There you go.
Oh, we're geeking out, guys. This is happening.
Oh, dude, let's go. We can geek.
I have a
totally geek out.
trophy from Bob's Burgers in the other room, but that's that.
So yeah, I mean, this is why I said at the beginning we don't script anything. The show shows where it goes.
I got my original.
We did talk about the movie
toys.
for 29 minutes.
Nice.
Originals, never been open. Come on, get on my level.
I love it. But yeah, no, sorry. I totally derailed us.
You guys were bonding over.
You know, so anyway, I'm gonna circle right back. So, you know, I look at horror as a main category with a whole shit ton of subcategories.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, you know, Scott, and you watch a lot of horror. There's you get the comedy horror, the thriller horror, the gore horror.
See, I like
the sexual horror.
I like the straight up gore.
Yeah, I mean, there's something so wonderful about all of it because it's this chance that we get to sort of meet a part of ourselves we would never want to meet in real life because it would mean we were in mortal danger, right? But you know, watching horror gives us a safe place to experience feelings you would never experience unless you were being hunted by a man with a knife or like. And it's like I feel like we're more complete human beings once we've shaken hands with that part of ourselves. And I think horror is such a unique genre that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I agree. Definitely. I mean, I've seen movies that, I'll be honest with you, it makes Jaws look like a love drama.
Right.
I mean, it is though. It's like like the ultimate bromance movie, Jaws.
Right?
I absolutely. I mean, we literally just rewatched that one. But yeah, it's fascinating. I also write. Oh gosh, I don't know. There we go. The Bendy and it's a video game, a horror video game, and I write the tie-in novels for that. So sort of in world stuff, and that's its own unique brand of horror as well. And I'm also writing these for a young adult audience, so like 12 to 18, I guess. But knowing that when it comes to video games, you know there's going to be young.
Oh, there's tons of it, and also tons of actual adult. Men sitting there.
Bendy is actually it's an adult. Bendy's an adult game, right? But I guess when they were looking at books, they knew that their audience stretched, and they were trying to. But with the knowledge that I'm writing horror, even though it's 12 and up, with the knowledge that probably some 8 and 9 year olds will be reading it. It's just a whole other kind of writing horror, right? So there's so much to play with, and I'm getting really I'm learning the kind that I'm good. Like I really like the creature features. I like Jaws, as we talked about. Jurassic Park when it came out was the first. Again, I don't know if you call it horror, but it was the first sort of horrifying movie I ever saw because I was obsessed with dinosaurs. They looked really real. And I was like, I've got to see this. I have no choice. I am just going to do it. And I was upset. And I freaking love that. It's like the best movie ever.
No, to me, that's just an action adventure movie.
No, I know. But
horror to it.
But you have saw.
What about when the girls the guys on the toilet and the T-Rex is coming in?
Yeah, the lawyer.
I would argue the biggest thing, you've got two really big horror sequences that fall into as we're sort of trying to define it because
and
5 of us to define
the electric fence.
Well, the electric fence is great, but the bit in the kitchen, and then the bit with Emily, and she's trying to find Samuel L. Jackson, and the arm falls and all that. Those are structured, just directed and structured as horror. And we know Spielberg loves his horror moments. We know with all the Indiana Jones stuff that's going on right now with the new film, like the melting faces, from the first. We know he loves his horror. So those two sequences. even though arguably Jurassic Park it's probably more like thriller, but those are, to me, that's horror right there. And you get a little taste of it within that. But I have learned I can do creatures. I can do, I can still hide a little bit, but like The Thing, I can do, horror. I can do zombies. I've learned because they're very creature-like to me. So there are things that
fast zombies or slow zombies?
Any zombie, man. All zombies are
See,
cool.
the fast zombies scare the shit out of me. Fast zombies. Yeah, fast zombies. I'm like, because we grew up with slow zombies, and they're going brains.
Well, yeah.
Now zombies today's are like all cracked out, and they're like run after you.
Hey,
like,
man,
give us
that's
the
not
Blair.
true. Our zombies aren't all cracked out and running.
Oh
fast.
no, yours are.
They're really, really high and bouncing off walls.
Yeah, man. And why are they always so athletic? Like, where are they really out of shape fast? Like,
right?
I'd be like the worst. I'd be the best zombie. I'd just sit around. I'd wait for the brains to come to me. Yeah.
She'd be a great weed smoking zombie.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, there we go.
I'm just chilling, just waiting.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So how long?
Sorry, go.
Oh no, I was going to bring us back around to the movie.
Okay.
How long did it take you guys to film this one?
So we initially went to camera for 2 weeks, so 13 overnight days. So we just shot it out, and then that was in the middle of the pandemic. So of course everything was crazy with the film industry. A lot of us were working on other shows, like a lot of us were film crew. So when the industry shut down because of the pandemic, we were like, well, let's go up to the woods and make a horror movie.
Yeah.
Which was so much fun. But then, of course, the industry started up again like crazy once things opened up because everyone had to catch up. So it took us a year to get our pickups, basically. So we came back a year later, got the pickups, and then we started looking for distribution. And we started doing the festival, or the Blood and Snow Festival. And so, yeah, I'd say about 14 shoot days.
Yeah. 14 days, I guess, including the pickups. Yeah.
Wow.
Now, is that the cabin that you said you were just at?
It was.
Yes.
Oh, so that doesn't freak you out now when you're there? I'd be like, fuck, as soon as I hear a bang, I'd be like, oh, I'm out. All right, let's go.
Here's a very true story. I was up recently with a couple girlfriends, and we were just like a weekend. We hadn't seen each other, again, pandemic. So we were like, let's do a weekend. So we hung out. We had a lovely time. They left, and I wanted like an extra day just to hang out and be by myself. I'm technically introverted, so I just needed to recharge. And in the basement still remains, for those who have seen, the scarecrow.
Oh, fantastic.
From the movie. And it's in the basement, sort of hanging from like a rafter in the basement. And I was fine when my friends were there, but when I was by myself, I was like, oh my God, this is like terrifying. I was so scared because, again, was chicken. So, and Scott was still in the city because it was a girls' trip. So I called Scott, and I'm like, this is going to sound really stupid, but I'm scared to go to bed, and I don't know what to do. And Scott, because he knows I have a very active imagination, he imaginated me out of it by saying that actually the scarecrow was there to protect the cottage and take care.
Oh.
And it was all good. So he's like a talisman now. So now whenever I go down to the basement, I give him a little high five, and we're cool. But I genuinely
we have to
bullshit guy to get out of that.
I don't know why it's still down there.
Right. So on set now, like I said, I haven't seen the whole film, but on set, were there any pranks played because you were filming a horror movie? Like behind the scenes things where somebody actually kind of reached out and just like scared the bejesus out of you just for shits and giggles?
Well, I'll tell you one thing that happened. So we had a thunderstorm one night, and it blew out the power, and we were using Nix bulbs to like battery operated like lights that were lighting a bunch of the set. And like Adrienne mentioned earlier, though, it was so dark out though that there was just this wall of black right outside the open front door. If you stuck your arm out, you couldn't even see your arm in the blackness. It was so dark. And I can't remember who it was, but had been out in the night putting up some lights for our next scene. And it was just crackling in the wind like some sort of spider creature, like bony spider creature coming towards. And I don't know if it was our DP or somebody else. I was just like, hey, man, I think somebody's out there. I think someone's out there in the dark. And I just remember him being like, I was like, you should go check the lights. And just you hear like this clickety-clacketing noise, like I'm moving around in the pitch black. I'm like, I don't know, man. Should we go out there and go get the lights? Or and I mean, that was probably the worst thing because it was genuinely so dark that you were worried you were going to die at any moment.
I would say I wish, I don't wish for myself. I wish I could have witnessed people pulling pranks on each other. Because again, would have probably started screaming and crying and then makeup all over again. But it was so fast. Like this was 13 overnights and we had, it was very much, it wasn't even the light that was the issue. The light is the issue. You had to wait for the sun to set, and we did it in the fall. So fortunately, we had more dark than had we when we did pickups. It was the summer, and we were like, okay, guys, we've got like 6 hours. Go, go, go. The issue was when it got towards dawn, and it wasn't light yet, but the birds woke up. And then you just hear them just talking and, hey, what'd you do last night? Oh my God, that's so cool, man. Like going and going. And you're just, oh my God, okay, well, I guess we're done. So the time was so limited that I don't think anybody we were just go.
We were definitely just flying because it like for a feature film, 13 nights is not very many, especially for principal photography. So we were definitely like balls to the wall. But I'll tell you the craziest thing that happened though is there's a military base up there. And of course it's in the middle of nowhere in pitch black. And we're the only ones setting up lights in the middle of this, forested area. And then the base, I guess, sent out like a chopper and it was coming down and suddenly this big searchlight came down because they were like trying to find out why this group of cultists are out in the middle of threatening these poor people in a cabin, basically, with proper lighting. So this is the worst porno being shot. So, yeah, and then we were like, oh, God, I hope they don't keep buzzing us because this is going to really ruin a few shots.
Right. We definitely, did, you do due diligence with locations and stuff. So, our neighbors, we'd already talked to them on like the Facebook group for this, one strip of like this one road in the middle of nowhere where the few people who live there. But we definitely were like, just if people are screaming bloody murder at 3 a.m, probably okay. Just it's going to happen.
Probably okay.
6 months later. Somebody screaming out there like, they're filming again.
They're probably okay.
They're probably okay.
By the way, comments. I'm seeing these. I'm trying to write down these movie recommendations that people are talking about. I'm just like, oh, what was that? Okay, I'll check that out.
If you have movie recommendations for a wuss who's getting more into horror, please recommend that too.
The Dark Crystal.
Okay, it's not okay. Yeah, but it's beautiful and it is.
I love the Dark Crystal too.
And as somebody who writes kids stuff, I think there's a lot of darkness and horror in children's literature.
Oh, most of it.
It's everywhere.
Like I realize with my books, even the ones that aren't
horror. Humpty Dumpty's a freak.
Sorry, say that again?
Humpty Dumpty's a freak.
Oh yeah, and do you notice they never say he's an egg?
Right.
They never actually say he's an egg. Yeah, he's just a dude.
I did see a new movie that just came out recently that kind of took me by surprise, and that was Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Oh, yeah. Those guys were so on the ball. They were waiting for those rights to expire.
Oh, right.
And they had that, like, the second those rights expired, they were good to go.
Yep, I thought that was a little too over the top, but,
I haven't seen that one yet.
I only made it halfway. I gave up on it. There wasn't much of a story.
Yeah, it wasn't well done. I mean, the Banana Splits horror movie was better.
Yeah.
There's also Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. There's all Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, all of those as well.
I like those ones.
Right. Now, see, I'm more of the old classic stuff. I like the Hills Have Eyes and
The Mutilator,
Spit on Your Grave, and
never seen them.
I mean, those are classics. I mean,
movies.
It's Last House on the Left.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just so amazing how iconic they are and just how they changed the aesthetic too of horror movies after they come out. Like it's fantastic. Like I mean, obviously Friday the 13th, you got like, and even The Thing, the way that the practical effects. I know it flopped when it came out originally, but it was just the way that it's influenced cinema since. Like it's so fantastic.
Right.
The Thing is when they ate the snow, right? Stuff in the snow.
The Thing is when.
But it's
the thing is
it's
when
a cell creature,
yeah, it's an alien creature that can look like anybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Haven't seen that one.
Yeah, that movie's been done 3 separate times, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
they had
original, then you had
the
yeah,
John
there's
Carpenter
3
one is a
different ones.
remake.
Yes.
Of an old black and like an old film, and then they did like a 90s or early like 2000s.
Yeah, they had a woman as a star.
Yeah, but the effects, because they were that sort of, oh my gosh, CGI is the greatest thing ever, but they weren't that great, right? The effect versus having like, you know, puppets, and I know there are effects in the thing as well, but just like, again, the practical stuff, the tangible stuff, just, you know, it's, of course, to be fair, when I watched it, I watched like this, so I haven't really appreciated all of the puppetry and stuff in the thing, but I think it sound probably was very good.
Well, what was fascinating about the prequel they made later was they built a lot of the practical effects, and they had it, and it looked great. But then I guess you can watch it on YouTube. But I guess I don't know if it was a studio or somebody got involved and was like, no, we're just going to do CGI. We want to be able to shoot it from every single angle. Like, it's fascinating to watch that whole process and just the difference, like between CG and practical.
Right, but they did make real props for that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I remember seeing some of them.
Yeah,
which to me is important. You know, that's
absolutely. It just looks so good on camera. Like, I shout out to the guys who made The Void. Like, their practical effects are just what makes that movie so fantastic. And the creature effects, like, and just the way they're shot too. Like, it just brings the movie to life, and it brings the creatures to life. Like, it's just great indie filmmaking.
Wow.
So
I think it's time. I recommend a movie for you. It is a comedy horror.
Oh, I was waiting for this one.
Okay. There's actually, they just came out with the second one. It's called Don't Fuck in the Woods.
I mean, solid advice.
I mean, I can't deny that.
Can't go wrong with that.
You can't go wrong with a title like that. You know what I mean? And it is a horror comedy. You know, it's a gory one too.
Yeah, horror comedies, though, I think this is what. Yeah, horror comedies push the gore so far because that's part of the gag, right? So there's part of me that's like, actually, give me a really, really serious horror movie over a horror comedy recommendation, because those horror comedy, oh my gosh, they're just, and they catch you off guard. I mean, this isn't a horror. So what I'm about to say, but I have actually seen Shaun of the Dead because, like I said, I've been into like all the zombie stuff lately. But Hot Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz was funny.
It was so funny, right? But there's a little bit of that gore in it, which they do like, because it's a comedy. It's really there. And I remember I was watching it. Spoilers if you haven't seen it. And I'm watching with my friend. She's already seen it. And I'm like, okay, so you're going to tell me if there's a jump scare or if anything's going to be like cut to that's gory, because I know this kind of film. I know these kind of guys. I know they're going to do that. You're going to tell me. She's like, absolutely. No, I've got your back. I'm like, okay, great. All right. Okay, so Joanna, all right, there's a guy with a scythe right now, like dressed like, you know, like death, like with a scythe. Should I be worried because there's a guy with a scythe? Like, she's like, no, you're fine. I'm like, are you sure? Because he's carrying a motherfucking slide. And I'm like, no. Cut to the next, and it's 2 decapitated heads on a road. And I'm like, and I do, you know, this stupid thing. And she's like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Like, there was a scene. Anyway, so that's
gun. You gotta. If you see a side, someone's gonna use it.
Oh yeah.
Now see, I use that as a decoration at my cabin.
Yeah, see, I think we differ greatly because like that kind of horror I can deal with, like the fake stuff. Okay, I watch these doctor shows with my girlfriend, and I cannot handle, like, they'll have like intestines coming out of and I'm like, what the fuck? We don't need to see that. Just tell me you're doing it.
It's there's some of those shows. Is it like an episode of like freaking Grey's Anatomy? I think where like these guys face off, like eyeballs, but like, and I'm like, what the heck? You're like a soap, like.
Oh yeah.
Why are you making me watch this? It's. I mean, yay to like all the like effects guys and all the makeup.
Oh, for real.
And you know all the props people who get to work on it and get that opportunity, but boo for my.
Well, I just love the idea of the ADs like on set being like, do we have the face? Do we have the face?
We need the face.
Yeah, fly in the face, guys.
So, but we are here to talk about your movie.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes, our movie.
So how has the film festival reception been?
Hey.
Oh, my bad.
Did I tell you could talk?
Oh, sorry.
Bad boy.
Mute me.
For all our viewers, because there are a ton of viewers and a ton of comments that were coming in, let's play the trailer again. Because we kicked it off in the first couple of minutes. So as you guys kind of know, some of our viewers are a little chill and they come in halfway through the show. So I just wanted to say, but let's go to Adrienne this time. We're going to let you bring in the trailer.
I don't have the one-liner memorized, the elevator pitch. Okay.
You can just say, here's the trailer.
Here's the trailer for The Devil Comes at Night. I'm in it.
Hello? Hello? Jack, are you there? We can't leave until I find the money.
You haven't found the safe yet?
Not yet.
Looks like half the town is looking for you. I've never seen anything like this before.
Who is in my house?
Your dad gave me keys. I didn't break in.
Your dad, he told me that if anything weird happened in town, that I was supposed to come here and hide.
The whole town's acting bizarre.
You afraid of the dark, Ben?
Why are you doing this?
I promise you haven't seen anything yet.
Something demonic is going on.
We're gonna finish what we started.
So my next question after seeing that again is, were there any movies that influenced the filming of this one? Because I see a couple in this movie.
I see it in the trailers.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
The Shining being one of them.
100%. I mean, Night of the Living Dead was a big influence. The Shining was another major influence for sure. I mean, a lot of the John Carpenter stuff was playing big on our minds when we were writing it. I think it was always sort of a loving tribute to the movies we grew up on as far as horror goes. So yeah, we really wanted to, and I think the 70s and the 80s were kind of where we were playing, where we kind of wanted kind of a gritty look to the film and have characters that might not be your typical protagonist. So Ben, for example, the lead, is this washed up boxer. So as opposed to, the college co-ed or the overworked dad, we were like, well, what if we took a really physically imposing boxer and put him in a horror situation? Could we still keep that intimidating? Could we still make the audience fear for him? And, that was sort of the basis and sort of turning the home invasion movie on its head. We were like, well, instead of people trying to break into the house, what if we made the characters slowly realize people are trying different tactics to lure them out of the house? How could we do that? How could we keep that scary?
And
so
keep
yeah,
that suspenseful, because it's also we'll just stay in the house then.
Yeah. So obviously, so Night of the Living Dead, The Crazies, there's a lot of that sort of flavor in it.
Right. And I don't want to say too much about it, but that twist at the end was fantastic.
Oh, thank you so much.
I don't want to ruin it for anybody, so I'm not even going to talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
Because even Jaja has.
I'm like, hold on, I got 15 minutes left. We can go back and watch.
Right.
Just go watch, come back. Yeah. It's funny too, because with the Shining influence, which was always from the beginning for writing the script, when we decided we were going to do it at the cottage and at North, it was just so wonderfully convenient that my parents built this place in like 79, 80. So you've got that like wood paneling that's like going sideways. That's so of that time and very also kind of Twin Peaks esque as well. And that just was the set, like the house itself was just such a wonderful character to have.
It definitely inspired the script. Like when we knew we wanted to do a horror, and when we were figuring, it would be great to go up into the woods, and like we knew we had this location, we sort of wrote it for that as well. Because it's so mod and 70s, 80s, and just these great sweeping panels of wood and just very visually dynamic, and this wall of windows in the back, which is genuinely terrifying, even when you're not making a horror movie. Like you're just standing there with this black wall.
Yeah, I don't know if I could live there at night. Like, hold on, something's coming out of the woods. I know.
Yeah. Well, see, when I'm up in Maine at my place, I get a lot of stuff thrown in my head from all of these movies that I've watched.
Oh, dear.
Because it was built in '68.
Oh,
it's all wood on the inside. Like I said, I have scythes and sickles and antique hand saws hanging from the ceilings. And,
yes.
I mean, it sounds like you're safer than anyone. Like, nobody's breaking into that place. They would walk right out.
Well, they'd have to find it first. That's key.
I mean, it sounds like a Stephen King novel, to be honest.
I was going to say Maine, like all of this.
Maine?
It's we've been rewatching just a bunch of like, I don't know, 80s, 90s sort of action, just fun. And we rewatched Twister recently too. And I don't know how well you guys remember your Twister, but there is a moment towards the end when they run for shelter in a barn and there's like saws and not like all these things hanging. And then she's like, who are these people? And they have to like run out again. That would be your home. People like running in like to get away from the crazy person who's chasing them. And then they come into your home and like, fuck that. And
well, new guests, when I bring them up there, my job is to kind of freak them out. And one of the things that we do is, I mean, literally I'm in the middle of the woods. I have no electricity, no running water.
Wow.
Okay. So what we like to do is go for a walk up the road at night with no lights.
Oh, no.
You know what I mean? And just doing that. Yeah. I mean, 2 o'clock in the morning, you'll hear the packs of coyotes off in the distance, and
those coyotes kick in.
The stars must be amazing up there, though.
Yeah, it is. I've had people up there that have never come back.
Wait, I mean, they've left and just not returned.
They just wanted to stay.
Well, I'll leave that up to conjecture. Yes.
You know what else I want to shout out is David F. Sandberg, the director. He was the one who he's currently did the Shazam movies, but before that he started in horror, and he did that viral YouTube video Lights Out that became a feature film, and it was fantastic. But he has this great YouTube series where he just talks about filmmaking, and he's got a great one about real dark in horror movies, which was very influential on us. But just the idea that there's a difference between when you have kind of the fake darkness in horror movies where you can kind of see everything. It's not really dark, but it's like, oh, where's that light source actually coming from? Versus when the characters, you literally can't see any more than the characters can. It's actually black. And I just love that in movies. I love the way he used it in his movie. And we tried to do something similar with ours where it's not just dark, it's black. Like you cannot see anything that the characters can't see. And I love the way that they do that. So that was kind of a big influence too. And again, because we knew we were filming up north, we knew that was going to be doable because it's not like, a car is going to drive by and light up the set, or like there's not going to be a street lamp or any ambient light. So much so that when our actors were walking to their billets and stuff, they would pull out, originally we're like, oh, would you like to take a flashlight with you? And they're like, no, I got my phone light or whatever. It would be like shining light into nothing, basically.
Yes. Yep. Oh, yeah.
It'd be like your place.
Yeah, I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, but you must have followed the moon phases in order for you to film this.
This was so much stress, Jeff. You have no idea.
But, for me, because this was so fast. It was so, all right, COVID has shut everything down. Let's make a movie. The screenplay was written in like a month, less. It was, and then we shot it right away. When we got there, I then suddenly my heart dropped just into my stomach going, oh my God, the moon. what about the moon? And because I grew up, I've been summers up there at the college, and I used to work for a theater festival as a theater technician as a high school student. And so we'd be working till 2, 3 in the morning, and again, chicken. So I would come home, drive, park at the far end, the dark that they disappear into. At the end of that, I would park the car, and then I would run across the lawn and go into the house. But when the moon was out, and you don't see this in the city, you just don't. When the moon was out, you could see the entire lawn.
You can see everything.
You can see the neighbors. You can, and they're far away. Like, you could see things. And I was like, okay, I still jogged, but I didn't have to sprint. So when we were up there, I was like, we didn't even think about the moon. And we were just so lucky because I started panicking about the moon. But then when we did the pickups, we definitely, because we have one night, it's the summer, so we have this much darkness to begin with. And then we definitely made sure to schedule it so that there was no moon for that.
Okay.
But yeah,
because that was one of the things I was actually looking for.
Yeah.
I was looking for that ambient light that was coming from the stars. You know what I mean? Because a very clear night up in my place, I mean, even if there's no moon, the stars alone will light up the woods.
Yeah. Well, just assume that night was overcast for the film, the setting that evening.
Yeah. An overcast night is absolutely perfect, and like you said, it is pitch black. You put your hand out, you can't see your fingers.
Can't see anything.
It is terrifying. And again, you mentioned coyotes. We had those a few nights where it was they just start howling, and you're just like, I would be walking to Holding, which would be down to the next farmhouse down, basically, or whatever we would call it, and you were just starting to hear them coming from around you, and it was pretty terrifering.
It actually informed some of the post sound design, which is really cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. Sort of not. It's not there's obviously dog barking because that's a plot point, but the actual in some of the ambient sound, it's not quite howling, but it's sort of that feeling of that.
Yeah, when we sent the sound to our sound design guys, we actually took a recording of coyotes out in the woods. And we're like, if you can do something with this is what we were experiencing. We just found it so effective as ambiance. If you can, not
literal, but
real faint in the background kind of thing.
Yeah.
For tense moments, it shows up when it's there are moments where it's literally.
Right. Well, you guys are lucky because when I have guests up there, I pray for blackness at night, and I make sure that they drink a lot of beer so that they have to get up at 2 a.m. to go pee because I have an outhouse. You have to go outside.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That reminds me of when I would go to summer camp for a month in the summer, and our cabins, they did have electricity, but they didn't have. There was where the bathrooms were not in the cabin, and I guess we were some of the older kids. We were at the furthest, so we were basically at the void of blackness, right? And there was a group of us, 3 girls or whatever, and we would just wait to brush our teeth until just before lights out so that we could walk in the dark to the bathroom and scare ourselves and then run back. There's
nothing more fun than scaring people.
Sorry?
There's nothing more fun than scaring people.
Right?
Other people, I love scaring other people.
I still run up the stairs anytime I have to turn off the light in the basement. So you should see me because I have 2 sets of lights, one at the very top of the stairs, one at the bottom. But if you turn off the top set, it leaves off the basement on the other side of the basement. So I have to go all the way down, turn it off, and then fly up the stairs because it's pitch black. Somebody might get me.
Or potentially your husband is around the corner.
Right?
Turning up all the lights at night in your apartment that does not have a basement or anything, and you think he's in the bedroom, and so you just walk out of the bathroom and you're turning up lights, and he comes around the other corner you're not expecting, and you scream classic blood-curdling a horror leading lady scream in his face, and then start to cry a little bit. I'm not saying that happened, but
I just want to know if Scott got it on film because you can.
It would have been, especially the sound.
I wish. I definitely got more gray hair after that.
I bet. Oh man.
So I have one last question for the two of you because I'm really curious. have either one of you experienced a real life phenomenon or situation that you could not explain?
Real life situation I could daily, man. I can't explain half the stuff that's happening. But are you talking supernatural? Like
supernatural? It could be ghost. It can be whatever you experienced.
Well, the weirdest thing that ever happened to me was I was out camping one night, and we would just take our sleeping bags and do open air camping. So we would just camp under the stars in the middle of the woods. This was in the Allegheny Mountains up in New York State. I think that's what it was called anyway. But yeah, so we were camping, and it was the middle of the night, and it was just pitch black and just a sea of stars above us. And then out of nowhere, the entire night lit up bright purple. And it was as bright as day, but purple. And then this gigantic fireball just went across the sky, and there was a sonic boom, and then everything went back to black. And to this day, I have no idea what that was. I've never found like a comet or anything. But my favorite part was another guy who was camping with me woke up, and we were teens at the time, and he was just like, "Oh man, when's the next firework?"
Wow.
Yeah, but
that was the aliens, That's the aliens.
I mean, clearly, right? But yeah, to this day, I have no idea what that was or what happened, and it was just sort of we all just like looked at each other, like, "Wow,
that's crazy."
I don't know. We'll go back.
That.
All right. Well, that's a good one. I like that one.
That was
right.
Okay, so here's my situation. I feel like because I'm such a wuss that ghosts are like, let's just leave her alone. Like,
I like that belief.
Mind is her own enemy. I do have the only story, and it's so dumb, especially compared to what just got. It was that, but it stayed with me. Like, it was my first year of university. I was studying. So I was studying in a castle in the south of England. So and it's from the 1500s. So already, and there were stories.
Set the scene right there.
There were ghosts, supposedly like in where the pub was now and all this stuff. So but I never saw it. I didn't have anything. And then one day during I think it was maybe lunch. It was bright and sunny, and we were all sitting. It was very Hogwarts-esque, actually, like in the Great Hall for dinner, very like with vaulted ceilings and the wooden beams and everything. I felt just like a very like tap, 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 like a very strong tap, tap, tap. And the type where, somebody puts their arm around and then they go tap, 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 and then they take it back. And, you're like, who did that? Oh, anyway, so I thought it was that. And it absolutely wasn't. Like, nobody else. And none of my friends to either side could have done it. And there was nobody behind me. And it was just this moment of just like, okay, I don't know, maybe my neck did it. I don't know. It was just, it was tiny, broad daylight, nothing else. And it's just probably one of the most puzzling things that I have ever experienced. And I was like, okay, cool. And I just went back to eating. And I don't think I even told anybody at the time that it happened. And there was like, it wasn't possible for that. Like, it was very weird. I don't know. Maybe my neck just spasmed, but I don't know. Maybe all the ghosts were like,
see,
we got your back.
It was the ghost telling you, tap, tap, tap. We know you're a wuss. We'll leave you alone.
We'll leave you alone. Yeah. Like, literally, we got your back. You're fine. But that, honestly, I scare myself just so, I have scared myself. And again, this is not, supernatural. Literally, I have a coat, a hat stand coat rack in my room where I put like my bathrobe, and I put, it's quite frankly, I have so many hats. Scott has no place to put anything of his own there. And I have woken up in the middle of the night to see sort of a shadow of a person, because it's like a hat, and freaked out at the hat rack. So I mean, I don't really need any help from you. I'm appreciating it. Thanks, guys.
Okay, you got to watch more horror movies, there, kid.
or I mean, I definitely see. This is the problem with being a cinephile and being a wuss. Like, it's actually. It actually really sucks. Like, I am working, I'm getting much better, and I'm like broadening my like what I can watch, because I like a movie is a movie. Like, a phenomenal movie can be any genre, and I deal with this a lot with writing, science fiction, fantasy for my kids' books and stuff. It's like, anything, if it's done well, it's done well, guys. It doesn't matter. And I know horror and speculative doesn't necessarily get as much respect as it deserves. Oh my God, sorry, I'm going on tangents here, but Jamie Lee Curtis winning the Oscar and talking about just being this genre queen, like this, like never expecting that she as an actress would ever win an Oscar because she does horror, she does action, she doesn't, you know, even Everything Everywhere All at Once is an action packed, right, kind of movie. And I don't know, I got really, really moved because it's true. The respect is really weird when it comes to genre stuff. So I want to be able to watch more. I'm very pleased I can watch The Thing and The Shining and all these amazing classics, and I'm still working my way, and I will get better. Mostly
You'll get there.
I will.
Scott will make sure of it. I know.
Oh, I'm working on it. We're making our way.
Yeah.
We just did the entire history of zombie films, starting with Romero all the way up 28 Days Later, Shaun of the Dead. We did. I don't know if you guys have seen Kingdom yet, the Korean series.
Do you guys know Kingdom?
I'm not familiar with that one.
Do yourself a favor and check it out. It's a high budget Game of Thrones budget level show, but what if the zombie apocalypse happened in medieval Korea? And they just play it completely straight, and it's fantastic.
It's beautiful.
I'll have to check that out.
And it's very, at the time, I'm not sure anymore because it was maybe 4-ish years old. It's not that old. By the time, it was the most expensive production that South Korea had made, most expensive show. And also, it's very much, sometimes some of the dramas can lean K-drama. You know what I mean? Like some of the period pieces. This one doesn't. It's real, and the lore with the zombie stuff is excellent. Anyways, we recommend. There are 2 seasons. I hope there was.
What was the name of it?
Kingdom. Which is awkward because there are so many things with Kingdom as a title. Kingdom, or but just Kingdom, and it should be on Netflix, right, Scott?
Oh, okay, that's even easier to find then.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out because that's right up my alley. Medieval and zombies.
Yeah,
right.
And just the costuming as well, and just it's.
Because you're like, it's like that costume looks really hard to wear. That's gotta be historically accurate because that's so impractical.
Wow. So, but on that note, we only have a couple more seconds with these amazing guests. There's been a ton of comments. So, and Jeff already asked his last question, so I'm just going to skip right by him.
I'm going to do the Leo question for that question. Since our famous leader isn't here, Leo, beyond making films and stuff, what do you guys really geek out about? Like Leo always brings up the guy that something with ships in a bottle.
He investigates sunken ships.
Oh, sunken ships. That's
anything to do with sunken, like actual vessels that had sunk. The guy geeks out over that type of history. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge nerd. If you couldn't tell, I love Warhammer. Henry Cavill. I hope you make a series for Amazon, man. I'm so looking forward to it. I'm a gamer. I love to read, but mostly I'm a cinephile. Like I am. I like, as much as I love making movies, I love watching movies. Like I just love finding new stories to watch. Like it's my joy.
What's been the best movie of 2023 so far?
Oh, that's a tough one. Oh God,
The Devil Comes at Night.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right.
That's right.
I think I've heard of that one.
Yeah.
How dare you even ask?
Check it out on VOD.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and I totally missed all of that tonight, but you can find all of their great links and the links to the VOD coming up in the show notes up above or down below, depending on where you're watching or listening to us. So it is in the show notes that Leo probably would have mentioned 5 or 6 times by now.
Yeah. We're bad about that.
Yeah, every time you asked him.
Yeah, right. So now, same question to Adrienne.
Oh, I wasn't sure we were.
I was like, where were we?
Well, I'm definitely okay. So when I was doing theater, and Scott and I both studied acting and theater in university, and said I really wanted to double major with art history. So I went to an art school my whole life. I'm pretty decent at all the things, but I'm so terrible at drawing and paint and making like pretty pictures. So I think I just admire people who can. So I'm kind of obsessed with art, and I have mostly prints, a few original stuff, but like mostly prints because that's what I can afford on the walls. And art history, I took a ton of art history classes in university. And my mom actually, my parents were both high school English teachers. They've now since retired, but my mom still works at the Art Gallery of Ontario as a docent, taking tours. So we get to go for free to all the special exhibits.
Nice.
So I'm really, really into that. But I will say, to add on to what Scott said, yes, I too am a cinephile. We bonded when we were just friends in that show that Todd, who plays Ted, got us. We would lend each other movies. I never returned them. He was very good at returning them. Actually, when he moved in, we actually made a point of watching one of the movies that I never watched that I had borrowed so many years ago as our we have moved in together movie. But I tell people with this story is it's very low budget indie, and part of it, the funding came from our honeymoon money. We got married in 2019. We were supposed to go to the UK because he's got family there. I've got friends there because I studied there, right? And then what happened in 2020? We couldn't travel anywhere. And so we both were like, hey, well, you want to use that money to make a movie? Yes, I would. So I think that we were meant to be. We were two little cinephiles who used our honeymoon money instead to make a movie. So we definitely like movies.
I mean, what better honeymoon than going to the woods and throwing fake blood at each other?
Yeah.
Right.
Doesn't get better than that.
See, now I think you just married her to get your movies back.
Yeah, right.
He's like, she's got a lot of money in movies of mine.
I swear to God, she was more excited about the movies I brought when I moved in than me. She's like, "Oh yeah,
you were packing them. I'm so glad you have it. Oh.
What DVDs do you have here? What Blu-rays?
Social media, especially we're learning in the last couple months, you need to have. If you got something you love, you should own it, because the streamers they don't care. They're going to pull it. They're going to get a hard copy of the things you love. Anyway, it was very exciting to put it on the shelves.
Here, let me alphabetize these for you.
Well, it's more by genre, but yes.
Genre. So, last question, Jeff.
Yeah. You mentioned that you kind of geek out about art. Who's your favorite artist?
I'll do the one that I would like. This was I was introduced to him in university, and it just sort of informed so much of what I love. So, Toulouse-Lautrec, who painted, he was sort of a contemporary of Degas and those artists who are all painting sort of these weird, sort of depressing slice of life. Like Degas has a very famous painting of this woman with this glass of absinthe looking just absolutely, she should not be having another glass of absinthe. And so it's just this but he would paint, instead of painting the upper class, and Lautrec, but especially did, prostitutes and dancers and the people who came to Moulin Rouge, who was played, oh my gosh, the actor in Moulin Rouge that played him. Scott, help me out here.
Sorry, are you talking about
Oh God, well you Google why.
Talking about
John Leguizamo.
Leguizamo played him in Moulin Rouge, right? But he also did posters for various venues. So for the Moulin Rouge, and his poster art, I just really, really got into that two-dimensionality, that flatness, and I just sort of I'm really into that. I think I've always been really, I like everything. I can't help it, but I really like the flatness of that sort of style of art.
Okay, so you have a lot of wall space in your house then, right? So
I don't have a ton of wall space, but I like to decorate I'm a turn of the century, 19th century gentleman in an estate in the country in England. So our walls are from floor to ceiling with paintings and pictures, and the living room is a dark red. And it's what I decorate was, and this is why I knew we were meant to be, because Scott really, the first time he ever saw how I decorated, he was like, yes. Have you ever seen Del Toro's Bleak House exhibit? He tours it, but it's also a real house that he has down the street from his actual house. I'm so jealous. So he has matte paintings. He's got Disney cells. He's got props. He's got all film history, but all sort of in his wheelhouse. So all with that horror bent, and so he loves Toronto. He films a lot in Toronto and around, Shape of Water, Crimson Peak. It's all filmed around here. And so the AGO, bring my mummy back into it, did an exhibit that was sort of recreating his second house that he calls Bleak House. with all of these props and stuff that he brought from that house. And Scott's a massive, I mean, who isn't a massive Del Toro fan, but you're a massive Del Toro fan. I'm a massive like art fan. So we went to see that. And this time I cried, but this time in awe and not from fear. It was so good. Like his stuff. That is how I would like to be able to decorate.
To paraphrase Hank Green, it's like I want to feel like a wizard who has decorated his house with the trophies of my many weird adventures.
Yes.
Yes.
I liked that quote, and I was like, yes, that is appropriate.
You need one of those, I'll call it a poster carousel. Like they have like Spencer gifts.
Okay.
You have two of them open. But
are you familiar? Yeah, no. Okay, so what you're saying, right? Is this is the art history nerd coming in, geeking out, like we were talking about. There's a place in London. It's a museum called Sir John Soane's Museum, and John Soane was an architect. He did the British Bank. He did a whole a ton of stuff. I've got so much geeky stuff, but I know we have to go. But his home that he is very contemporary for the time of when he was. He actually lived, which was I think the 1700s. Oh, now I'm blanking on everything. He has, he did the grand tour, which means you steal a bunch of things from other countries and you bring it back, right? So he's got like this courtyard with a covered courtyard with a sarcophagus all the way up to like the Romans. He's got all this art, but to your carousel thing that you were saying, he's got this one room of paintings, so Hogarth and Turner that he's collected, and there's this one. The walls, they go all the really high, right? This is oldie-timey architecture, right? So really high ceilings. The whole wall moves like a freaking poster carousel. And then there's another, and these are paintings, right? So they're thick and they're big and they're heavy. A whole other wall of Turner and other stuff. And like 3 that you can go in until it opens this amazing hole and you can look down into like the downstairs area. But he literally has that. And that is what I literally want that. It's incredible. You guys go. And all these museums are free. Well, not all, but a lot of them in London are free. So if you go, Sir John Soane's Museum, highly recommend. The architecture.
You heard that here first, folks.
Check it out.
You heard it here. That's where you need to go.
Yep.
After you go.
After you watch the movie.
Watch the movie.
After you watch The Devil Comes at Night.
If you watch The Devil Comes at Night enough times, we all can go.
Yes.
Yeah. Guys,
let's get
their trip to London on us.
We can get their honeymoon money back for them.
Yes, and then we can go to London finally. Go to the UK.
Yeah. So we do have to let these fine actors and actresses and writers and producers and authors and just everything. Do have to let them go very soon. So I'm going to do what Leo usually does and go like this. Cha-cha!
Hey, you can catch me every Tuesday on Splash Pages at 7 o'clock on YouTube and Facebook, as well, or 8 o'clock, sorry. And every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock, I'm on the Midweek Geeks. And that's also on YouTube and Facebook, and which are all part of the Dorkening Podcast Network, which has over 40 different shows. You should check them all out.
Very cool, very cool. So, Scott, where do you like interacting with your fans?
You can find me on most social media at ScottLever7. Twitter, Instagram. I just joined up, actually, so come check it out.
Okay. Those are in the show notes, folks, just in case. Adrienne, where do you like...
Oh, well, sorry. Anywhere that sort of you can find Adrienne Kress. I think my name is spelt reverse mirror. There we go. So Twitter, Instagram. I am on TikTok, but I really just use it to watch other people's TikToks. And I have a website, kress.com. And I have books.
That's right. We didn't even talk about her books, folks, but hey, it's in the show notes. Go check them out for sure.
You said books. Right?
Oh, hey, look at that cool light thing over her shoulder.
The devil?
Yeah, that's from the movie, right?
I think she.
Yeah, it is from the movie.
Oh, there she is.
Yeah. Was that a Christmas or a birthday present, Scott, for you? I forget.
Oh, that's wicked cool.
Yeah, a Christmas present.
Nice.
Jeffrey.
Yeah, don't look me up. No, you go to stilltoking.com. You'll find out everything you need to know about us, where we're going to be, and Token with the Dead on Facebook. I also am on TikTok just to watch other people's stuff, mostly, because I don't do videos. I suck at it. I do want to say, if you want to come see us, we will be out in Greenfield this coming weekend at the Grumpy Cup. I'm not the grumpy one. But we will be there Saturday and Sunday at the Grumpy Cup. We'll have our new novel with us that just came out a month ago. So come on out, check it out. There'll be a whole ton of vendors. It's a barbecue competition. It's a car show. It's a comedy show. There's all kinds of shit going down that weekend. So we will see you out there.
Wow. Oh, I guess I got to do this. Like, in me. No, like Jeff said, stilltoking.com. You can find out everything you want to know about us, from, like he said, the new novel that just came out, to the comic books, to the TV series, to potentially an animation. I don't know. There's all kinds of stuff going on. We just never know where it's going to go. But we do want to thank Adrienne and Scott for coming and hanging out with us tonight. I just ask you guys to hang tight till the show closes so that it can record off. But to all our veterans and first responders, we want to thank you for doing what you do so people like us can do what we do. Stay safe. We'll see you. We're out of here.
Peace.
Bye.
All right. Now I got to find the right button. See, Leo, you can yell at me. I definitely going to screw this up.
Watch the movie.